So welcome to our Be the Glue series where we share short, casual, but impactful conversations with individuals who have been the glue, either by bringing people together, ideas together, efforts together, to create just something meaningful or navigate change through challenge. So today I am joined by Hernan Chiosso, the founder of ProductizeHR. And Hernán is also an AI and innovation consultant. So welcome, my friend.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So nice to have you here. So Hernan and we go back through Disrupt HR for almost 3 years now, right? And I just love collaborating with you in so many different ways. Let's start our conversation with, as you think about your work in AI adoption, innovation, what does glue mean to you?
Sure. I think that I can probably divide my experience and my background and my perspective on these on two different stages of my career. Right. So for a long time, I was VP of global talent at a technology organization, and in that role, being the glue with a larger team meant a different thing than today as an independent consultant. So in first, this initial stage as VP of Global Talent, it was about building the culture and the environment that help people be the best version of themselves. So, for example, sometimes, and in technology, this is especially true, that you sometimes find that somebody who is labeled as, oh, this person is difficult to work with because their personality style is difficult, or they are opinionated, or they whatever. The reality is that that person is passionate, and you when you see that passion, you need to harness that passion. You need to guide that passion, and not to try to combat that passion, because the alternative is having somebody that has no passion at all, and that you have to drag around to do anything, and that's just exhausting. That takes too much energy of you. So it's better if you have somebody who is passionate, and even if opinionated, it's better to work with that, especially if you take the time to acknowledge the reason behind those hard opinions. Because I'm biased towards the technical minded people, because I also have a more of a technical background. Part of what they teach you in technical careers is to be certain about things. So you have to be certain. If you're not certain, you're wrong. So that leads people to feel to act more opinionated, because that's who they are. If if they are if they hesitate, or if they doubt themselves in any way, or if they have second thoughts, then it feels like it takes away their identity.
And this is where those leadership skills matter so much because you have to coach them through their capabilities, right? Like harness those capabilities, find that spark, that, that passion that you're talking about, but it's that leadership glue that you have to be in order to harness that passion.
Yeah, and sometimes it's as simple as saying one technique that I use, that because it was very useful for me to help to work with other personality styles, is to have if you have two people in your team that are just butting heads
Yep.
against each other, have them take personality assessments, right? And then exchange them. Like, give the other person the personality assessment of the person that they are struggling to communicate with. And the reason for that is that that way they can understand that they have different languages. So if I am talking to a person in my language and that person doesn't understand that language, it doesn't matter how hard I yell. I need to be able to communicate in the other person in a way that the other person can understand, and vice versa. So that's essential. My role in that sense, being the glue, was helping each other understand that they have different languages, they have different priorities, they have different concerns, and so those need to be acknowledged and utilized for communication. If without those, communication doesn't exist.
So now you said the glue looks different if you are the VP of talent versus a consultant, right? Because you do have played those dual roles from time to time. What does the glue mean when you are on a consulting role?
Sure. So just something very recent that like literally yesterday, somebody posted on LinkedIn and tagged me, an HR leader that I've been connected with for a few years. I've never met him in person, just met him through networking. He's in Atlanta, and he tagged me just out of the blue. We haven't talked in a few months. He tagged me out of the blue, saying that I have inspired him to learn more about AI, and to because he thought that was not his thing. But then when I showed him that it could be his thing, not only that it should be his thing, then he started learning, and now he was like proudly sharing a certificate that he achieved. And I think for me in my role today, that I'm very active posting things and writing articles and like building a community. This is my role in being the glue today, in bringing people to to a state of possibility of saying, oh, I could do that. I know where to start. I am somebody is translating these things from a more technical language into my language, into the language that I speak, maybe as an HR leader, right? And so that's one thing that I always sort of consider myself a translator, like an interpreter
That's so funny you
things.
say that. I say the same thing about, because like our roles are like between HR and IT a lot of the times. So translator is the perfect word to describe sometimes what we do in either people operations, HR technology, people analytics. That's all translating, storytelling.
And I think it's not, I don't think it's a coincidence that not only we are translators in like two different domains of the profession or of our professional career, we also have different languages and backgrounds. We have more than one language, so we are naturally open to that different ways of calling things.
Yeah. It's so how many languages you speak?
Fluently, I would say 3, 4.
Okay.
I can read my way into 5 or 6.
Oh wow, that is amazing. I'm at 3, but that's only because I was born in Albania, grew up in Greece, and most people think I'm Greek, but I'm Albanian, and it's but I'm fluent in both. And it's fascinating when you say that you think differently. You do think differently because you have certain pathways open that sometimes I don't know, but I use to translate things between the different languages in my head to be able to express myself, and sometimes like adapting to the culture too. That's a challenge in itself, or it could be also you know a fun way to showcase that you can be a culture add, not a culture fit. So I'm sure from both a talent perspective and consultancy perspective, that can make you a little bit more, adaptable, I guess, when you work with different people, when you work with different personalities, when you work with different clients, because you're also used to navigating language, culture
Mm-hmm.
already. So when you are in a team setting, that becomes a little bit more innate, I believe.
Yeah, and because you have to switch your uh your lens whenever
Mm-hmm.
you are translating
Mm-hmm.
something, whether it is languages or whether it is domains. You need to switch the lens that you're using to see the world,
Yeah.
because language is a lens that it's been proven that not only changes the way we see the world, changes the way that we build the world.
So could you say that, I mean, these LLMs are another lens? So is AI another lens of viewing the world?
I would definitely agree with that, and also one interesting perspective that I came across a few months ago was that somebody was doing some research on, does it matter what language the data that was used to train the large language model was used? So imagine that something was a large language model was trained with texts in Chinese versus text in English versus texts in Spanish
Mm-hmm.
versus texts in Arabic, right? If we admit that language is a way to build the world that we see, that will also have an influence on the responses that we are getting from a large language model, depending of if the large language model comes from uh, the Chinese literature training
Yep.
or
Mhm.
English. So that to me is fascinating. Uh, Maybe even also a little bit scary, because it's something that it's a lens that you have, but you don't really see that lens.
Mm-hmm. So then when that take that now to AI adoption and
Mhm.
how people are using it in their businesses and their teams and their organizations, right? Um, what I guess what are the skills that would be so critical when you see, the results of AI or what it gives you, in response to a prompt, or I guess like critical thinking could be one, but what are some skills that you see that you help people kind of navigate through or adapt?
I would say skill number one is curiosity, and that's like this intellectual curiosity. Um, and not surprisingly, this is also related to why do you want to learn another language, right? Because you want to understand how things are, how conversations go in a different environment that they use a different language. So to me, that intellectual curiosity of being always interested in learning something else.
Curiosity. What makes people
I
curious? Is that a built-in? Is that something that you learn, or is that something you're born with?
I think that it's something that is instilled
Mm-hmm.
as a child, and I think that's also, I have to thank my mom for this. She was always like, not just wanting to teach me things, but
Mm-hmm.
but like pushing me to ask why. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is how it is, but why?
Yeah.
Why do you think it is? And that's also something that I'm trying to instill in my son, that curiosity of saying, hey, did you know that this and I give him a fact, and then, why do you think it is?
Go
And then
find the
he
answer.
right, then he gives me a, a, a theory of why that might be, and I say, oh, that's cool. Why do you think that? Kind of like that, helping him
Yes.
feel that these why questions are naturally are useful,
Mm-hmm.
that they are an exciting path to go down.
Oh. I can I can see how playfulness and curiosity can kind of go hand in hand, right? Like there's so much to be said. We had a whole separate episode with Ozge Kantas with the power of play, and we talked about curiosity in that a little bit as well. And you know, there are times that as adults we kind of lose that spark or lose that playfulness. And but I agree with you. I think it's important that curiosity is there. Sometimes though fear can take over, yeah, especially
Mhm.
with these new tools in AI. What do you see around that, around the fear of either AI tools or bringing AI into organizations? What are some patterns that you're watching?
Sure. One thing that I wanted to go back to this topic of curiosity, because there was some quote that I read last week that makes sense on this in this context, and it's that ignorance does not go past the state of wonder. So
Say that again, ignorance.
ignorance does not go past a state of wonder. So
That's
ignorance
true.
is that saying,
Yeah.
"Wow,"
Yeah.
but there's no why. There's no asking why. It's like, "Wow, this is surprising," and leaves it at it. So
I wrote that down because I love quotes, as you know me. I can be a little dorky when it comes to
yeah, it's probably some small variation of that, but I think that's a core of it. And it's like to be this curiosity takes you past that state of saying, "Oh, this is great, this is wonderful."
Yeah.
Now, why is it? What can I do with it?
Yeah.
How can I use it? Right? And in going back to the other topic about the fear, I think it's related, also related to this same thing. It's about uh, trying to understand how things work so that you can leverage those things. I wrote an article uh, like a month ago, in that in which I described two common anti patterns of uh, of AI AI adoption, and the article was called "Ostriches and Headless Chicken." So, and that's something that I see a lot in how teams are approaching AI. They either head in the sun and they pretend it's not happening and they say, no, it's not for us. We are not that kind of company. We are AI cannot do anything for us. Our job is never going to be replaced with AI. And then there's the other ones that go just running around without thinking, going from one thing to the next, like crazy, without any strategy, without any thinking, just chasing the the thing that moves and the
Yep.
shiniest object.
Hmm.
So you need to find your way somewhere in between those two, right? So don't be distracted by everything, but also be interested, be invested, and be informed in how the technology can transform the work that you do for the future, because it is going to come. It's going to transform the way that you do. And some a lot of the transformation doesn't come from job positions being fully replaced. It comes from skills or tasks being automated to the point that a full position is no longer sustainable. Right? I always use the example of toll booth operators. Right? That's a job that went away, and everybody's happier because of that. Because as a driver, you just enjoy not having to carry change, and not having to slow down, and you just keep going. And there's there's a tag in your windshield, you get charged, done. Or you have a camera and they take your license plate and they charge your license plate or whatever. In the toll booth operators, I cannot see that they were like really engaged workers that really love their job because of the work environment, right? So that's one type of job elimination that will happen. There's some things that will be completely replaced, but there's some other things where the job is transformed to the point where it completely changes. And if you go to a supermarket today and you see that the self checkout stations, so in you still right now you have both things still at the same time. You have the cashiers and you have the self service station, self checkout station. But if you go back in history a little bit more, and you go back to before there were computers in the supermarket, the cashier needed to perform different jobs, needed to be able to good at math, right? Be able to good at math, be good at math. They need to have good memory, and they need to remember the product codes, and they need to be kind of like have the social capabilities of being able to interact with clients. It was a slower way of operating, and people were okay with waiting a little bit more. Then in comes the computers, and then come the barcodes, and so all of a sudden you're not typing in anything. Your typing skills are no longer needed. And now you have the self checkout stations where the people who would be cashiers are just hovering around maybe supervising the self checkout stations, helping you if you got as a client got stuck with something, right? So customer service becomes a much more important part of that job. And also there's one person supervising 6 checkout stations. So there's a combination of a shift to a certain type of tasks and a reduction in the number of people doing that task. And maybe that could also be an enrichment for that person that is now a cashier. A cashier could be doing some customer service surveying, right? So now their hands are free from having to type the product price, right? And they can do other things. So there's a little bit of that transformation going on, and we need to be naturally curious to understand how our jobs are going to transform, because there's some things that will stay the same and that we will need more of, and there's some things that will completely transform because maybe they didn't have a meaning to begin with. I mean, they were the best that we can do with the technology that we had at the time, right? I always talk about the topic of resumes. I mean, in speaking in the domain of HR.
Yeah.
Right now, you have candidates using AI to write resumes, and you have talent acquisition using AI to help select the resumes. So at some point, you have an AI talking to an AI. What's the value in that? And what I say at this is that maybe this is an opportunity to re-examine whether a resume is the best way, it's the best proxy to understand the potential of a candidate. So I don't know what's going to replace the resume, but there's no scientific proof that a resume is a good proxy to the potential of a candidate.
So true. So true.
We just agreed as in our industry and in this function, we have agreed that a resume is a good proxy for the potential of a candidate. Maybe it's not.
Here is an invitation to anyone who's listening. This is an amazing problem to disrupt and actually, dig in to see, well, what could it be if it's not a resume? Because you're right, we have reached a point where it's AI vetting AI, and
Mhm.
it is a little crazy right now for talent acquisition. So yeah, this is an awesome kind of planting a seed out there to say, well, what else is happening? What else could it be if not a resume?
Yeah, I've talked to some entrepreneurs, some HR tech founders that were exploring some, like, playing some games, like browser-based games that you could go and play, and that would give an assessment of how good certain skills are. So it could be something that is uh, insightful and at the same time engaging. So maybe that's one avenue.
Yeah, so it's interesting you say assessments because we're already seeing assessments being implemented at the talent acquisition process
Hmm.
for certain professions or certain roles, like even within AI, prompt engineering and assessments as to like how do you approach coding or prompting and before they even get you to an interview stage. So we are seeing some kind of glimpses of like changes in the assessment process, or the sourcing and selecting process in TA. It's interesting to watch.
Yeah, and
So,
and
I mean, oh, go ahead.
no, sorry, I was gonna say that, yeah, when with the assessment and with the interview process and everything, we need to understand, and this is something that every talent acquisition person should know, that the situation of a job interview or a job assessment is not the same as the situation of a of the work of the person
Mhm.
working in that
Mhm.
team.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's we have a very limited amount of information to evaluate a candidate. So we shouldn't treat these assessments as or even our interviews are as
Mhm.
biased humans that we are. We shouldn't treat those as a single point of, like, certainty of, yes, this person is going to be great. Yes, this person
Yeah,
is going to be, no,
yeah,
this person is going to be horrible.
yeah. There's so much that goes into it. Experience and exposure to, the things that you bring in with you as part of that experience and, the different roles you've played in different industries. There's so much to capture. And I think, going back to the resume would be interesting to see, is there another point of evaluation, that could help in the future. But like, I feel like our worlds intersect a lot when it comes to this reskilling and upskilling and trying to help people adapt with these new tools. So I love we have some upcoming collaborations coming
Mhm.
up. Well, I said upcoming, coming up twice, but you know what I mean. We have quite a few things happening in 2026 together, so I'm excited. Watch out on our LinkedIn, and we're gonna put some links underneath to share. Hernan, where can people find you? I know you write a lot of awesome articles, and I follow you and I reshare as much as I can because you have a definitely a very different perspective than a lot of people do with AI. So I always learn from you, and I appreciate like reading everything you write on your Productize HR page. So where can people find you? How can they reach you? What are some things you want to share?
Well, the main thing is either on my productizehr.substack.com newsletter, or I'm very active on LinkedIn, so do reach out on LinkedIn. I just this on Friday I reached 8,000 followers.
Yay!
For what it's worth,
Let's
I don't
celebrate!
know,
Woohoo!
but it was a nice round number that I've been working very hard on building, because I feel it's not just about uh, who is listening to me, but who is visible to me, right? Who I can follow, because I've met lots of people because they are contacts of somebody that is following me, right? So it's not just about my own number of followers as the people who are listening to me and they are my audience. It's because I can become an audience of them and of the people that they follow. I've you know how the LinkedIn algorithm sometimes shows or hides
Yep.
things from
Yeah.
you because based on what it thinks that you might be interested in. And if you get connected with other people, then that changes your algorithm and introduces new people that you can follow, that they follow you.
Yeah.
One of the things that happened in the past couple of I think a couple of years. I started following somebody, and he started following me, and he has sometimes commented on my posts, on my articles, or liked on my posts. He happens to be Dan Goldin, who is a former NASA chief, like the longest tenured NASA chief, who writes very interesting things about what it means to uh, what science and technology really mean in our pursuit of making us better humans and
Oh, wow.
making so to have that person like your articles, to me it's an honor.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, Hernan, I think you are the glue in so many situations that at least I've been, exposed to. So thank you for continuing doing that. I'm excited to collaborate with you this year. And Hernan is also our technology lead for Disrupt HR Rochester, and we're going to be preparing some fun things for that event on April 30th. We'll make sure we post the link for our website and on Disrupt HR Rock. And yeah, anything you want to leave the audience with as we're wrapping up?
I think that if the main thing would be that learning about AI is not just an opportunity, it's a responsibility,
Mm,
especially if you are in some kind of talent role and HR role, because I truly believe that HR uh, HR professionals are much more capable of leading this transformation that is happening with the insertion of AI in the work environment. In essence, this is a change management project,
it
and
is
we know
for
about
sure.
that. And we
Yeah.
know about that. That's something of the things that we do well, that should be our strength, and also the component of ethical work
Mm,
is higher or should be higher in human resources
of course.
fields than other fields that don't concern themselves so much
Yeah.
with that.
Especially with
So
sensitive data, employee related data, PAI, sometimes PHI. There's so much. Yes. So
we
much at
should be
stake.
there inserting. We should be there inserting, making sure that the AI that is being deployed in the
Yeah.
organizations, whether it is with employees or clients, is ethical and respects privacy and all those things.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very true. So more to come on that because I have a feeling we're going to be talking a lot more about AI things together.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
so much.
today. I can talk to you forever and I think I say that at every interview that I have. So thank you, Hernan. This is always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Always grateful to have a conversation with you.
Take care
Bye.
and continue being the glue, my friend.